What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another lap guide. This week we are at Silverstone. What's challenging about this track is we're using different techniques at different corners. We have high-speed corners, low-speed corners, flowing corners, quick changes in direction. So to put in a fast lap, you have to have an arsenal of talents at your disposal. So let me walk you through, corner by corner, the different techniques I'm using around Silverstone. As we come across the line to start a fast lap, we do not have much time to think because we are already into a sequence of 5 corners. The first 2, a fast right left-hand chicane. These corners can easily be taken flat out, so the goal of these corners is to steer as little as possible. Because the more we're steering, the more the tires are scrubbing, which means the more speed we lose, the more heat we build up, and the slower we go. So we're turning in, just a gentle turn in right before this access road on the left. Gently guiding the car towards the apex, and listening to our front tires, because the more we can hear them squealing, the more speed we're scrubbing. But as we get to the apex, applying a bit more steering wheel, using all of the road on the left, but as soon as we're off of that curbing, we're immediately turning left. There's a slight bit of banking in turn 2, and we want to use that banking to give our car more grip. So we keep the car tight to the left, using all of this banking, easy flat out as I said, heading into a really tight right-hander. We're braking right at the start of this curbing on the left, from 5th gear down into 3rd. And a trick I found in this braking zone was I'm listening to my right front tire. Because the road's slightly banked to the right, and it's a right-hand corner, it's really easy to lock up that right front tire. But even if we're not locking up, we can still lose grip by slightly asking too much from it. So listen to that right front tire, and if you hear it squealing, try braking just fractionally less the next lap. So braking in 3rd gear, all the way to the apex, just missing that red curbing. We're only tracking out to the middle of the road though, because we have this immediate left-hander. So we're in 3rd gear, hustling the car back to the right. But this is the most challenging corner in the sequence, because as I said, the car's really unstable at low speed. So I often found if I'd made just a slight mistake, the car would start oversteering, and I'd lose a ton of time through this corner. And that's especially bad because it leads onto a long straight, so we want to get as good of an exit as we can. So we're doing a light brake, down into 2nd gear, trail braking to the apex, being very gentle with how we lift off the brake, because how we lift off the brake changes the attitude of the car. If we pop off the brake quickly, that'll cause the car to start sliding. So we're gently off the brake, and we start applying throttle right away to help shift the weight to the rear of the car and to give the rear tires more grip. So applying a bit of throttle right away just to give the car a bit of grip, and then as soon as we get past this apex, we start getting back to more throttle, using all of the road in the exit, into 3rd gear. We're through there nice and clean, and most importantly with no oversteer. So we're in 3rd gear, 4th gear, use all this apex on the left. Finally onto a long straight where we can take a deep breath. We are clean through that first 2 sectors, but we're heading into a really challenging left-hander that leads into a right-hander. This left-hander has a really late apex, and we're braking all the way through the corner, and it leads into a right-hander with a really early apex. So we're turning in and braking just before this 50 board, right about here, in 6th gear, a hard initial application of the brake to about 70% before immediately peeling off. But we're trail braking all the way into the apex, keeping the car a bit wide here, aiming to touch our left front on that green curbing in front of us. And right about here was where it gets really challenging, because we're slowly peeling off the brake, and there'll be a point in this corner when you're off the brake and off the gas, and the rear end just starts to slightly slide on us. And you want to time it just right, so as that car is starting to rotate, you're right about here, and you can start applying the throttle. So right about here, the car starts to slide just slightly. You can see my hands, I'm just going to show this to you really quickly. My hands go from turn to the left to slightly open, but the arc of the corner doesn't change. This means the rear end's just starting to slide. And right when that happens, I start applying the throttle to settle the rear of the car and to help us gain speed through the exit. So I apply a bit of throttle just to settle the rear of the car. We use that oversteer moment though to turn us through the corner, hard on the gas in 4th gear, into a really tricky right-hander. In most cars, it's a double apex corner, and this one is really a single apex corner. So I'm turning in really early, aiming to apex just after where this green AstroTurf meets the curbing. I'm lifting off the throttle and just gently applying the brakes. Again, the car is really loose through this corner, so if you ask too much from the car or carry slightly too much speed, you'll start to oversteer and start to lose time. So apexing right there, using all of the curbing, waiting for the car to rotate and get through the corner. Waiting till about here, we get on the gas hard, bring it slightly back to the curbing, a little bit of oversteer. I was slightly too aggressive getting back to throttle. I'm gonna have to correct for that. We're able to keep it flat though. 3rd gear, 4th gear, that was quick through there. Use all this road on the right. All the pros do that, so I start to do that too. Coming into a really fast right-hander. We're looking for a change of color in the grass on the left as our brake marker. So we're braking just after this yellow grass on the left. Down into 5th gear, a very light tap of the brakes, and similar to turn 1, trying to turn the steering wheel as little as possible and listening to those front tires. So in 5th gear, getting back to the power, hard on the gas now, use all of that road. Into the Maggots-Beckett's complex, starting off with a left-hander that's easy flat out. Take that in 6th gear, but at the end of this red curbing on the left, we're going to immediately turn right into this next apex. And then we lift off just after turn in, drop it down to 5th gear, use all of that curbing on the right, setting ourselves up for another left-hander, entering it at the middle of the road. And I tried something a bit different this lap where I'm actually not applying the brakes to this left-hander. The next lap I did apply the brakes just slightly, and I think it was slightly faster. But here, I don't apply the brakes, I just lift off, aim my left side tires at this apex curbing, drop it down into 4th gear before that apex curbing, keep the car to the left of the road, immediately turn it into the right, and then we're hard on the gas, use this road on the right, use all of the road on the exit. It's so important to get a great exit out of here because we lead onto the hangar straight. We are up on our previous lap. We have 2 braking zones left, 2 really challenging braking zones though. Take a deep breath, here we go. Our braking zone for this corner is right at the start of this curbing on the left, and we're turning in at the same point. It's actually a really hard brake, and I found the harder I brake, the more the car rotates on entry. We want that rotation on entry. So I'm braking hard, and you can see that I'm actually sliding the car because I'm braking so hard. From 5th gear, down into 4th, clipping our right front tires at this apex, and then getting hard on the throttle. Track all the way out. There's probably another foot and a half I can use on that exit there. That's maybe half a tenth of speed. Into the final braking zone. Just as we come over this crest, we're heading into this chicane. We're braking right at the start of this curbing on the right. From 5th gear, down into 3rd. I'm slightly later in the stint here, so I think the later you go, the faster 3rd gear is. But earlier on, you might want to use 2nd gear through here. Into 3rd gear, trail braking all the way into the apex. Keeping the car to the left before we get hard on the gas. The car will want to slide through this right-hander, and it's really tricky because you can actually see that I get a slight slide through there and I have to make a correction. Just lifting off the gas slightly as we begin to slide. Before getting on the gas hard again. The car's twitching all the way out of here. It's so important to get on the gas early though, get on the gas hard, but it's really challenging because the car's just sliding all over the place. And it's especially challenging because you have this sausage curb on the left. So if you hit that sausage curb, you'll damage your front wing and you'll lose a ton of time. You want to just barely miss that, which we do there. 3rd gear, 4th gear, easy flat to this right-hander, and we are across the line in a 2 minutes 01.5. I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great week of racing. I'm not sure if I already said that. And I'll see you guys next time.